I'm not going to live with someone yelling at me all the time just because they're not getting what they want. I'm hitting a breaking point here. I'm just done.
He said the words like it was nothing. Quiet, calm, almost routine. She thinks it's about love. But I'm thinking bigger things. America, opportunity, career. In less than 30 seconds, a man who once fought his family tooth and nail to be with the woman he loved allegedly admitted that maybe it was never about love at all. Welcome to Reality Sport. I'm Oliva, and what you're about to hear is not only one of the biggest shocks in 90 Day Fiancé history, but possibly the unraveling of a storyline the network built its global empire on. If you haven't already subscribed, do it now. The tea coming out of India isn't hot anymore, it's boiling. Comment below and tell me who you believe, Jenny or the leaked tape. The betrayal wasn't screamed. It was quiet. Whispered. That's what made it so brutal. The clip first dropped inside a private Reddit thread, late at night. No face on screen, just a voice, allegedly Sumit's. Calm. Matter of fact, like he'd said it 100 times. Everyone wants to live in America. That's the dream. What would you do in my position? Within hours, the audio had flooded TikTok, Facebook groups, commentary channels, and fan pages. The tag Sumit Expose trended by morning. Jenny hadn't even responded yet. But when she did, it was with silence. Not a tweet, not a caption. Just one leaked camera shot of her. Eyes red, mouth trembling, looking completely gutted. The image clicked around faster than any of their wedding photos ever did. This wasn't some messy fighter culture clash like we'd seen before on the show. No. This wasn't yelling in front of Sumit's screaming mom. This wasn't Jenny being stranded in India or crying at an embassy. This felt final. There was something eerie about how quiet she got after the leak. Like she'd seen a part of her life flash on screen and realized it might have all been a script, and not hers. But before we break that tape down, let's rewind, because for years, they were the definition of against all odds. Jenny, a retired grandmother from California, meets Sumit, a decades younger man from India, working in a call center. He catfished her originally, pretending to be a model named Michael Jones. But instead of rage quitting, she forgave him. They fell deeper. TLC saw a gold mine, and the couple became one of the franchise's most unforgettable roller coasters. Parents disapproved, marriages were exposed, visas expired. But no matter what, Jenny stayed. She left her American life behind, said goodbye to her grandkids, and made curry barefoot in an apartment in Gurugram, all for what she believed was true love. And Sumit? He told the world he didn't care about age, didn't care what anyone thought, that Jenny was his soulmate. They beat the family drama. They beat the legal chaos. They beat the internet trolls. What if the most loyal love story on reality TV was never real in the first place? For years, fans fiercely defended them. Don't judge their age gap. They're in love, they said. Critics rolled their eyes, but even the skeptics had to respect what looked like unconditional loyalty, until one grainy, 30-second leak pulled the curtain back. Until one sentence made every heartfelt moment suddenly feel rehearsed. Until Jenny's silence said more than Sumit ever could. Until one leak blew it all apart. Back when the audio hadn't leaked yet, when the world still believed in soulmate Singh and his silver-haired bride from Palm Springs, Jenny was quietly making peace with her new life. No Whole Foods, no grandkids nearby, no retirement cushion, just spicy street markets, power cuts, and the neighbors whispering about the foreigner auntie who moved in with a much younger man. She laughed through it, wore her kurtas, posted cooking reels, ate a dosa on plastic stools like a local. For Jenny, love meant adaptation, sacrifice. She chose Sumit over everything familiar and warm. And for a while, it seemed like he was choosing her too. But Was that just a show we were supposed to see? Because some fans, especially longtime commenters, had already started pointing out tiny cracks months ago. And now, replaying the timeline with the audio in mind, it's hard not to wonder how long this shift had been creeping in. The most obvious red flag? Call it déjà vu. Secrecy. Remember, Sumit had already lied to Jenny once, for years, hiding the fact that he was in an entire arranged marriage the first time they met. He kept it up while they filmed, right under her nose. That betrayal nearly tore them apart, but Jenny forgave him, told herself that kind of dishonesty was behind them. Now fast forward to this year. Suddenly, there's talk of the spin-off, The American Dream. A new TLC project focused on foreign cast members navigating the visa system. Jenny wasn't enthusiastic. She liked India. Sure, it was hard, but she'd built a quiet routine. She didn't need America anymore. She had what she came for. Or thought she did. Sumit? He couldn't stop smiling every time the word opportunity came up. According to insiders, right after getting wind of the spin-off buzz, Sumit started DMing his old TLC contacts. There were new Instagram stories with his Delhi crew. One selfie clearly showed a U.S. visa consultant's office logo in the background. People started connecting dots. Jenny hadn't picked up on any of it yet. At least, not publicly. Then came the small behavior changes. Late-night calls taken outside. Silent exits from the room anytime Jenny walked in. Quick locking his phone. Suddenly, Sumit had a lot of meetings. And Jenny? She kept smiling for their phone camera, stirring overly salty dal, while he giggled off-screen. From the outside, it still looked like love. But rewind those reels, and something feels off. Her smile's doing all the work. He's looking somewhere else entirely, future-bound. Sumit smiled on Instagram while allegedly stacking moves to start over. Without her. She posted a funny little clip the night before the leak. Her and Sumit making samosas. She teased him for using too much cumin. The audio hadn't dropped yet. But behind that phone camera, the guy people thought was risking it all for love might have already been planning life without her in it. The clip wasn't flashy. No dramatic music, no shaky camera reveal. Just audio. 29 seconds of compressed WhatsApp voice note realness leaked anonymously on Reddit sometime after midnight. It sounded like a typical behind-the-scenes moment. Someone talking casually, probably not thinking anyone would ever hear it outside production. But within 5 seconds, the voice, low, measured, unmistakably Sumit's, dropped the line that cracked everything open. She thinks love is enough. But I'm thinking long-term. In America, things can happen. Not here. The subreddit went feral. Fans froze the audio, looped it, slowed it down to match the speech cadence from past episodes. In the background, someone spotted a familiar bell chime. The one from the clock that hangs near Jenny's kitchen sink. It wasn't just his voice. It was her house, her kitchen, their home, or what she believed was home. The betrayal wasn't just in the words. It was in where it was said, right under her roof. By morning, YouTube channels were scrambling to verify. TikTok edits layered his audio over flashbacks of Jenny crying on flights, leaving her family, bawling in Vegas. Comments exploded. We defended him against his own mom for this? This man said opportunity with a straight face while living in her apartment rent-free, not the kitchen she gave up everything for. Meanwhile, TLC went fully mute. No comment. No statement. Internally, sources say they were scrambling. Part legal damage control, part moral panic over what this would mean for the spin-off plan. But the fans didn't wait. Hashtags were already everywhere. Hashtag green card groom. Hashtag justice for Jenny. Hashtag he said it, not me. The crew didn't have time to go quiet. They were about to go live. And Jenny? The moment she heard the full tape, it wasn't filmed for entertainment. It was documented for legal reasons. TLC has confirmed that. What they didn't expect was how still she sat. The producer pressed play. Her hands shook slightly, clutching her phone like it might crumble. For all the time she cried on camera, this moment was different. Silent. No tears. Just still. The voice played once. She believes it's love. For me, it's more than that. America changes everything. The producer asked if she'd heard enough. Jenny blinked, slowly. Play it again. They played it 2 more times. Word for word. Tone. Breath. Inflection. Jenny's chest moved like she couldn't catch air, but her face never changed. She stared at the phone like it was a Ouija board spelling out the death of her future. Then, quietly she looked up and said, "I've wasted my life." Jenny's entire identity shattered not with a scream, but with a whisper. This wasn't reality TV heartbreak. This was a full system crash. Decades of belief, erased in under a minute. And for once in this entire franchise, there was nothing left to script. The internet didn't just react, it detonated. By the time the sun rose in California, screenshots of the leaked audio were everywhere. Meme pages stamped mission accomplished over stills of Sumit holding Jenny's hands during their wedding vows. TikTok creators stitched clips of Jenny crying in season 1 with the voice note in the background. Reddit threads compared him to Mohammed from the Danielle days, another man accused of using a woman's heart as a bridge to cross the Atlantic. Angela posted a blunt comment under a fan account, "Girl better run and take them sandals with her." Colt shared a meme of Sumit with a US flag Photoshop filter. Even former cast members, who usually stayed quiet, chimed in. That's how fast this thing exploded. This wasn't tea. This was wildfire. Meanwhile, TLC can't agree on anything behind the scenes. Half the network worries the scandal threatens the credibility of their biggest storyline. The other half? They're already calculating the trailer views for the special. Jenny and Sumit. Betrayal in Delhi. It writes itself. Until you remember a real woman gave up her life for it. Scripts for the planned spinoff, the one where they'd move to the US, to start fresh, are quietly shelved. The crew in India tells execs that Jenny hasn't answered her phone in 2 days. Her real stop. No samosas. No turmeric tips. No blurry hugs. Her last post? A generic selfie on her balcony. Comments flood in asking if she's safe. Some fans DM her offering to send her money, buy her a flight back to the States, even pick her up at the airport. This isn't trolling anymore. People are treating her like she's been rescued from a cult. Sumit? Nothing. No denial. No apology. No clarification. Just radio silence. And everyone knows the longer he waits, the louder the judgment becomes. Every misstatement becomes its own form of confirmation. But the betrayal that hits hardest isn't what's said. It's what's not said. Jenny's quiet tells the audience more than any producer ever could. She's been on the show for years and always had something to say, even if it was through tears. The fact that she said nothing now? That's the heartbreak. Her silence is the scream. If this was just TV, why did the silence feel like a funeral? TLC goes into PR lockdown. Executives hold a closed-door emergency meeting in Los Angeles. Some pitch damage control. Others pitch ratings. They've dealt with scandal before. Sure, divorces, arrests, even restraining orders. But this isn't messy. It's surgical. Clean betrayal, captured on audio, delivered like paperwork. And everyone watching knows, this time, the smoke might lead to actual fire. The shaky, dimly lit footage isn't supposed to exist. It wasn't part of a YouTube vlog, and it wasn't leaked by someone looking for clout. It was filmed by one of the crew, reportedly after the network gave the green light to document everything, in case lawyers got involved. Jenny didn't know the camera was on, at least not at first. She's hunched over a small suitcase, slowly folding the same kurta she once gushed over when she first moved to India. Her eyes are swollen. Her breathing is loud in the silence. She isn't talking. Not crying either. Nothing performative. It's the kind of sadness that doesn't want comfort, it wants release. Outside, neighbors at the Gurugram apartment complex saw multiple TLC production vans parked near the building. They watched as crew members came and went for nearly 4 hours. Someone said they saw a producer pacing the hallway, talking into a headset. Another said a sound guy left crying. The timeline matched perfectly. The video appeared online about 36 hours after the Reddit audio dropped. Fans stitched it into montages. This was filmed the day she found out, one TikToker wrote. You can tell because the same shirt appears in the samosa video earlier that week. The friend who spoke to Reality Buzz said it best. She's not even angry. She's just empty. Like someone turned the lights off inside. That's what makes this worse. Jenny isn't filming dramatic exits or throwing plates. There's no screaming match with swift edits and cutaway shots. She isn't looking to expose him for relevancy or to fight for a pension from the franchise. She got hit with something so raw, so deep, that all she wants now is to disappear with what's left of her dignity. One moment stood out above the rest. A producer walks into frame, talking softly. Jenny doesn't respond. She's sitting cross-legged now, holding her phone in both hands. It's shaking. She keeps scrolling back to the audio file. Her knuckles tense every time the voice says opportunity. She doesn't yell. She doesn't throw the phone. She just looks up and whispers, "He planned this the whole time." And I believed all of it. That's not the sound of someone betrayed last week. That's the sound of someone realizing they've been living inside a lie for years. Not a moment. A marriage. A life. Sometimes the worst betrayals come from those who waited the longest for your trust. She doesn't move for 10 full seconds. The producer doesn't press her. No one does. Because how do you console a woman realizing she left behind her grandkids, her name, her past, for someone who might have seen her as a visa window? As the camera keeps rolling, Jenny sits beside a wrinkled screenshot of the memes flooding fan pages. One of them shows Sumit laughing, holding a U.S. flag. Another shows her crying, with the words, "She gave up everything." He wanted just one thing. The room is quiet, except for a small clock ticking in the kitchen. Jenny blinks slowly. She's not planning anything. She's not fighting anymore. She's letting go. The Airbnb wasn't glamorous. A simple one-bedroom on the edge of Delhi, booked last minute by production so the confrontation couldn't be interrupted by friends or gossiping neighbors. No decor. No distractions. Just white walls, a creaky bed, and 2 people with a decade between them. In age, yes, but now in intention too. Sumit walked in with a nervous half-smile. The same smile he used when his mom screamed at Jenny. The one he wore when lying to her about his first marriage. The producers say he reached out to hug her. Like that might fix it. Like that would erase recorded proof. Jenny didn't move. Her arms stayed locked at her sides. Not cold, not defensive, resigned. "You said it?" she asked quietly. Sumit didn't pretend not to know what she meant. He looked down, picked at the sleeve of his shirt, then gave her the first soft denial. "That's not how I meant it." She didn't blink. Just asked again. "Did you say I'm your way to America?" A pause. The kind that makes everything louder. Air conditioners, wall clocks, the scratch of his fingers on his own jeans. And then, softly. Maybe at first. But I fell in love. After. Nothing in the room moved. Jenny didn't gasp. She didn't shout. What she gave him was worse. Stillness. Like something sacred between them had just been buried. Not broken. Not scratched. Buried. "You think love pays for opportunity?" she said, barely above a whisper. Her voice cracked, not from rage, from fatigue. The kind you can't fake. The kind that only shows up when your spirit has been carrying a weight it didn't know was there. He tried again. "I didn't plan it like that. I didn't lie. I just thought we could grow together with it. With what? She said. A plan I never knew about? He looked exhausted too now. With a better life, he murmured. For the both of us? And that was it. Jenny walked past him and sat down on the edge of the bed. She didn't cry. She didn't plead. She just ran both her hands through her hair and looked up, eyes raw, and said, I gave up my country for this. My daughter. My grandkids. My whole identity. Sumit didn't speak. Maybe he knew nothing he said next would matter. Maybe he still thought she'd stay. Maybe he didn't think it would ever get this quiet, this real, without a script in the background. To protect them. You know it's real when there's no script, no retake, just heartbreak. The camera stayed on. Not out of cruelty, out of obligation. TLC had already decided they were going to continue filming as long as both parties didn't explicitly ask them to stop. And neither did. That's what made it harder to watch. Because this wasn't a breakup scene designed for primetime drama. There were no taglines, no scandal bait. What we saw, and what the crew later described as the hardest footage they've ever filmed, was a woman quietly processing the death of everything she thought her love story was. Real-time grief unfolding in a rented Airbnb. Sumit eventually sat beside her, but not too close. At one point, he whispered, I didn't mean to hurt you. Jenny didn't respond. She stared straight ahead. Her face wasn't filled with rage. It wasn't even confused. It looked like surrender. To the truth. To finally accepting it might have never been what she thought. Behind the camera, the director had his finger hovering over cut. But no one said the word. Because nothing felt finished yet. And maybe couldn't be. The footage from the Airbnb was still being passed around fan pages when TLC pressed pause. 2 weeks. No cameras, no scripts, no scheduling. Quiet. Official suspension. Publicly, they said nothing, but behind the scenes, producers were instructed to collect footage for potential crisis resolution deliverables. That's corporate speak for, we're not sure yet if people will ever forgive us for airing this. The damage was already outside their hands. Petitions flooded in demanding TLC cut ties with Singh. Some fans asked for Jenny to be compensated. Others demanded legal intervention, claiming what she went through bordered on emotional fraud. Legal blogs began dissecting the audio leak, lining it up with K-1 visa intent requirements. True crime channels suddenly had a new suspect. It snowballed. Fast. Jenny didn't press charges. She didn't make statements. Her Instagram stayed dark until a week into the production freeze. Then, one quick post. No caption. Just her in a simple t-shirt, no filter, talking straight into the camera with a voice so soft you had to replay the reel to catch the words. I don't know who I married anymore. That was it. No anger, no drama, no call-out, just confusion. Grief. Her voice didn't crack, but you could feel she was holding it all in, trying not to let the world see how hollow she felt. Meanwhile, the first response from Sumit went to ET India, and it came with predictable wording. My words were twisted. The context was never shown. I never disrespected Jenny or used her. People are just pushing the story for clicks, but fans picked that statement apart within hours. YouTubers compared his tone in leaked clips to old interviews. Background noise from the viral recording, the chime of the same kitchen clock, the clang of pans matched what fans had seen in Jenny's old vlogs. There was no out-of-context editing. It was, for all intents and purposes, a full confession. Caught. On. Tape. Jenny's family finally broke their silence 3 days later. Not an interview, just a short written statement shared with US Weekly saying, "We ask for privacy at this time and can confirm Jenny is safe, surrounded by love and support." No further details. But no denial either. By then, the damage wasn't just between two people. It was cultural. Because if you zoom out, This wasn't just one bad romance. It poked directly at something way more loaded. What happens when love and migration intersect on global TV? There's no sugarcoating it. A lot of people look for partners abroad with the hope of a better life. That's not criminal. That's survival. Sometimes ambition. But when one person sacrifices everything, their identity, home, family, and the other tiptoes around the truth for 5 years, it stops being a dream. It starts looking like a strategy. The emotional cost? It doesn't show up right away. It creeps. In lost time. In silent dinners. In the weird way someone avoids your eyes when you remind them of your sacrifices. Jenny didn't get scammed in a legal sense. But emotionally? She's a cautionary tale for anyone who believes unconditional love won't come with terms and conditions in small print. And 90 Day isn't new to this. Mohammed and Danielle, Azan and Nicole, Usman and Lisa. But this one stung differently. Because Jenny wasn't after fame. She wasn't chasing clout. She wanted one simple, slow life with a man she believed waited through hell and back just to be with her. When it turned out she might have been the one waiting, the internet turned. Some called Sumit strategic, others manipulative. The truth? Maybe it's both. Maybe it was always a blurry line between hope and calculation, between wanting a future and targeting someone who'd give up theirs to get you there. There's a quiet kind of pain when you realize someone didn't lie to you once. They just never told you the full truth. They let you build a castle on their maybe. And when it all finally fell, they acted like you were dramatic for feeling crushed. When TLC suspension ended, Jenny didn't resume filming. But she did reappear, under a different light. A grainy, silent clip posted to her stories. No words, no music, no dramatic zoom, just a dimly lit bedroom, a closed suitcase, a folded-up passport. Her hand reached over to zip it shut. The camera didn't tilt up. We didn't see her face, just her body, lightly shaking. Then, screen goes black. No closure, no final speech. Because sometimes, when a love story ends, the most powerful finish is what isn't said. And if you think that's the darkest 90-day fallout ever, wait until you hear what Big Ed did when the camera stopped filming.